So this video is going to be called The Gatekeepers. Now, when I'm talking about the gatekeepers, I'm simply trying to make you understand this whole narcissism epidemic in a spiritual perspective. I'm trying to paint for you the picture so that you can try to understand this thing in a spiritual perspective. Narcissists are gatekeepers. Now, I want you to take your time with this knowledge, information. Feel free to share with us what you think about the subject. I just chose a title. So listen to me because I have a reason as to why. Now, the narcissists, if you look very closely, if you wake up from abuse, if you have been a survivor, or let's say a victim of abuse and survivor, and you woke up, you awakened after this abuse, something happens to you feel like something happened to your brain. Is why sometimes maybe you hear people talking about, a lot of people that know you, used to know you, they may think you're crazy. They may think something going on with this person or what is going on with him. So you feel, personally, you're going to feel like something has shifted. There is something happens that you cannot explain in words that happens to your own consciousness. So this feels like you have opened up these doors to you opened up these doors and you tapped into a certain type of frequency that you wasn't aware of before. You wasn't tapped into before. It is like a higher frequency where you are getting information, downloads, intuition, ideas, and all these kind of things. So this is like you have a very unusual spiritual upgrade that you cannot explain to anybody else. So sometimes you're starting to access some terminologies, you're starting to understand the different language. There's some things you can speak or hear, and there's a way that you can see the world around you. Is why they told you that when you have awakened, you cannot see people how you want to see them on the 3D. You will see them exactly how they are, for who they are. You will never see anybody else for what you want to believe they are. You will have it's like you're looking just simply at a person without clothes. You are simply seeing them for who they are. They cannot hide from you. They cannot lie, normal lies to you. They can no longer manipulate you. You can really see through the BS. It is a different frequency. It is a very powerful frequency, ladies and gentlemen. Now the question will come. The question will arise. What has changed? Post-awakening and pre-awakening, what was the difference? So there was a different version of you pre-awakening, the sleep version of you. Post-awakening, there was the awakened version of you. I guess following. Now, when you start to see the reason as to why you was asleep, this is where the video gets interesting. When you start to understand and overstand the reasons as to why you was asleep in the first place, way back in time, that is when you're going to discover that you've been around not one, not two, not three, so many narcissists in your life. Because you see now, you're starting to add these pieces together. You're adding the puzzle, everything is fitting. You can know what father did, what mother did, what your ex did, what husband did, what this one did. You can get the picture now properly. You put everything together. That is power. If you can sit down and start putting all these pieces together of the people and events and places that was around you, that is power. You're very powerful. So now you remember everything and you're seeing that you've been around narcissistic people. There was many. They was all around you. You couldn't see them. They was everywhere. They was in your bed. There was your neighbors. There was here. There was there. You could not see them, but they was there. They were there. Many in their hundreds. And then you're thinking, why couldn't you see these people? Back in the days, why couldn't you see them? What was the problem? Why couldn't you see these people? Then now you're figuring out you were asleep. The reason why you was asleep was because you was around these people who couldn't allow you to access higher frequencies, or I could say a higher consciousness. So there is a way they could block you from accessing, because you see, these people, they are demonic. Is one of the things you always have to remind yourself in the back of your mind. Narcissists are demonic. So usually when you're around those kind of individuals, they are going to, it feels like they throw a blanket over your head. So you're just like, you're walking around, you don't even know where you're going. You're just going around and hitting walls. So you do not really know which door you need to use to get out of this cage. It's like a very huge mental slavery, mental cage. They put you in this mental cage. They close you up in this mental cage, and they will fog up your brain. So you can never be able to understand the real stuff, what is happening. So that's why now you hear a lot of these psychological terms, gaslighting, blame shifting. So all these are the mind tricks so that they can further clog your brain. You can never be able to think for yourself. So the further they put you to sleep, it is a very strange, I could say, it is something very strange to explain. Even when you're talking about this thing to people, they may think you're making up some stories. People can ask you, why couldn't you leave? Why didn't you leave that person? You said that there was this one, there was. So people will not understand that there is some trauma bonds involved, soul ties and stuff like that, spells. These people, they are like witches. These nurses, they're like magicians, or I could say witches. There's things they would say, there's a way they would manipulate you, there was things they would do. You cannot live. So when you are with those people, you would never be able to access higher knowledge and higher consciousness. For some mysterious reason. Is why sometimes you would be like it's like you're moving around like a zombie. You're just in that relationship, you don't know what your husband said. Whatever they say you do, you say this, they do, you say this, they do. So it's like you don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Now you're starting to think, what exactly is going on? This person is toxic, but you can't leave them. But at the same time, you don't know what the answer is. You're thinking that they're weird or evil or something like that, but you cannot understand what is going on behind the scenes. And then one day, something just happens, bam, you wake up. Guys, do you know how ugly? Let me say this very, very slowly. You guys need to hear this. Did you know how ugly a narcissist looks the moment that veil is removed from your face, from your eyes? Do you know how ugly that person looks? The moment the veil has been lifted, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to see, you will be thinking in your mind, how did I even end up with this person? How did I even sleep with them? You cannot even touch them. You don't even want them to touch you. You cannot even converse anything with them. That is how disgusting they are. So those people, what I'm trying to drive at is that those people, they are gatekeepers. Because you see, when we're talking about energy, there is people who need this energy. There's a lot of people who think that they just need to feed off of other people. They cannot generate energy on their own. So they believe in harvesting other people's energy. That's how this whole thing works. So what really happens is that these narcissists are in positions where they are able to harvest that energy psychologically. So they are out there. Anybody who tries to you want to know something, you want to ask about reality and what is going on, they are going to block you and put you back to sleep. No, 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 don't ask about that. Go back to sleep where you've been. Go back and sit down. Go back and this. Don't ask anything. Did you know that we have been lied to ever since we was kids? We have been lied in our homes by our parents. We have been lied to in schools. We have been lied to in churches. We have been lied to our entire lives. And when you look very close to the people that used to lie to us many years ago, those were the narcissists we're talking about. We've been lied to. Scam marriages, the narcissists, they are to lie to somebody to get married. I will love you and this and this and this. Before you know it, boom, you married to a narcissist. Then you go deeper in the sleep. You go deeper in your sleep. So these people, they are like standing behind these gates to a higher consciousness. And they know that their souls, they have access. Those narcissists, they know there is souls. The only thing they need to do is remember they have got access to that consciousness. So these narcissists will stand at the gate and they are going to block those kind of souls to make sure that they do not access that consciousness. Because you know that here on this planet, there's people who didn't come here to wake up. Not in this lifetime. They did not come here to wake up. They are not going to wake up. They are going to be in that low consciousness forever. Maybe they will come back in the next time or the other time. They are not going to wake up. There is people who didn't come here to wake up in this lifetime. But there is souls that came here to wake up. So those ones that cannot wake up, they are the ones who are going to be making it very difficult for those souls to wake up in this lifetime. So they are going to stand at the gates. Those are the gatekeepers I'm talking about. They will refuse you access to go in there and discover who you are. They will block you from gaining higher consciousness or reaching states of higher consciousness, I could say. Those are the narcissists, So as a black sheep of the family, I used to be young. I used to ask a lot of questions. I used to ask my dad, for example, so what is this or what does this one mean? I would ask. I was very curious. I used to be a very curious guy. So most of the times, any moment I asked a question, I was gaslit. You're too young to understand this. You shouldn't ask this or what. Just leave it like that. So I used to hear a lot of defense mechanisms when it came to knowing things. And I was usually asking about the serious things. But normally there was an excuse for me not to know something. In churches, the same thing happens, Churches. But the ones in churches, they can operate in a different way. So, for example, you can have a follower who is intending to, buy their own land, maybe start up their own farm or stuff like that. And now you have this pastor, they're going to tell you, no, I've seen those churches, So for me, me and religion, we are very far apart from each other. Those things of religion and church, I don't waste my time. So there was that. Some of those pastors, they will tell you that, it's not making any sense for you to build a house. But if you buy, what do they call it? If you invest that money in the church what do they call it? In God's house, you're going to be blessed 100 times. So we have seen some churches where the pastors, they have refused people to open up their own business. They have told them to go and sell their plots of land. The plots of land they should be using to farm, to open up their own farm, little farm, and sell their crops. Those guys have told those people to go and sell that land and come and donate the money in the house of God. Now, those are the narcissists we're talking about. You want to pursue something different. You know that when I go this way, I will win. Your own father will tell you that that one is not working. That direction, you can forget about it. I used to hear all those things. You ask these black sheep, they will tell you. Ask the black sheep, they will tell you how their journey has been, how people have been blocking them from reaching where they need to go. So, your own wives, they will discourage you from getting your first license, or your driver's license, or maybe finishing your course at some studies, whatever. They will be blocking you, or all your whatever moves and journeys. They will be standing somewhere and block. They want you to go back where you've been. Because your evolution could also lead to your awakening. And that is what the narcissist wants. That's what they don't want. They don't want to see your awakening happen. Because you see, the more souls that wake up, the more it's going to be very difficult for many people to continue this whole nonsense of energy harvesting from innocent souls. They have been doing this for decades. But when people are conscious and they are aware that they have to protect their energy, then these energy vampires don't have anybody's energy to siphon. They are going to run dry and they are going to fall down like corpses. It's why you see narcissists, they collapse. The moment you take away their supply from them, they start collapsing. I've done a video on this. When the narcissists decompose, the moment you start taking away their energy, they are going to collapse. They are going to collapse like these bodies. You see those bodies in mortuaries, whatever, those morgues and stuff like that. The narcissists will look like that because they don't have their vampires. These are energy vampires. So they will try to block anybody that is trying to ascend spiritually. So you do not have access to higher consciousness. Because anybody who is awake to that level, they are not going to give away their energy like that. The first thing they're going to protect is their energy. But these narcissists, they need your energy. So they don't want you to ascend. So they're going to stay on the gates and block you from gaining higher states of consciousness. I'm very sure that this video may be a little bit confusing for some of you, but I know that many of you get it. Let us know about your opinion in the comment section below. You guys know, I do love and appreciate your support. Please book a session. You may donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I'll catch you guys in my next one. Desmos signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.